Hello, hello, Joe.
Hey, buddy, how are
How are you,
you?
sir?
Good, good, thanks.
Uh,
Just
yeah,
gearing up for the holidays.
yeah. Hopefully, my connection lasts here. It's still having issues, but I'm out here in rural Georgia, and they're still waiting on fiber at my parents' house. So, such is life. You know what? I
Yeah,
could pair
what
off
are
my
they
phone.
auditing it or something? No, it's too late. You're fine, dude. You're actually moving good. I can hear you. It's not garbled with me sharing the screen, so I don't. I wouldn't worry about it. I say we just go for it. Um, hey,
So,
first
what's
of
going
all,
on, buddy? We got lots of good people coming in to talk to us. Want to help out with the investment club.
yeah, I was looking at that this morning. And thanks to all of you. I mean, this is great. Just so we're looking for is a core group that helps build a community and helps learn more about what's going on in the market and finds targets and helps us be a bigger success than if just you and I did it. So I'm very excited
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, me too. And I think the opportunity then, as we expand what we're doing, becomes bigger too. So that's exciting. Thank you to everyone who has volunteered to help out. Joe and I are scrambling to put everything together. I'm actually going to have a call this afternoon with our attorney just to make sure we button up all the documents and nobody's going to sue the hell out of us. And we set it up properly as an investment club, and we follow the rules. So we may be, I told a few of you folks that we're going to try to get things rolling today or tomorrow. We may roll a little later than that post Christmas, but we'll let you know on the show, and we'll message you guys. We'll set up a group and message everybody who has expressed interest. If you are still interested in potentially joining the We're Forked Investment Club, please feel free to message me B05 Crypto on Twitter and Telegram, and B05 Crypto pound 2143 on Discord. We'd love to have you. We've got a good number of folks already jumped in and excited to get this thing rolling. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean,
Cool.
just so much activity going on. I don't know. Life Dow bought some more of that this morning. That's had a TVL drain, but it's priced way below the what is that number called? I can't remember that metric, but the one that's like the
It's what
backing.
it's true.
It's
It's
priced.
backing value.
Yeah, it's way below its backing. Its backing is around 17, $18, and it's trading at $3. So
Yeah, the question
it's like
becomes
I didn't.
backing per
Go ahead.
life Dow LF $18. Yeah, $3 per token right now. So it's 6x return on the money. I think the question is, some of the things being online are saying that it may be a slow rug where they hype the hell out of it, make a ton of money, sell their tokens, cash out, and then just kind of leave it sitting there, which is another interesting thing, right? Because there are things in the Olympus Dow forks that are tweaked. Like, you've got to set up the bonds, and you can adjust components of the system. But at the end of the day, it should still function on its own because it's a deployed smart contract or set of smart contracts. What I find interesting is, even though this and the TVL is dropping, the APY is also dropping at the same time. And the market cap has dropped below $1 million. So I think the question is if you come in here and buy, you know, a big chunk of LF, and it keeps printing and the price holds steady here or goes back to where the backing is, and there are no developers running this thing, I'm really curious what's going to happen with it if these guys have bailed on it.
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything that says they've bailed on it. I just think that look, this a lot of whales are in
Well,
this.
if
We're
it's
in this. This is
look, if it
very
is a
early.
if it's a yeah, if it's a slow rug though, if it's a slow
But
rug, then these guys cashed out their money and they may not maintain it at all.
but I mean, what isn't a slow rug? These days. I mean,
Well, I mean,
everything.
and intentionally slow rug, right? So they did send a tweet out. Their last tweet from the project was 2 days ago with an updated roadmap.
Yeah, I don't,
So
this shenanigans I've seen in other ones, I just don't look. I watched the TVL go up from like 6 to 15 in a matter of days when it was blowing a top at, whatever trillions of APY. And then that money's gone. So that's not developers. That's just whales coming in and buying it, or investors buying it, VCs buying it and moving on. So to me, I think, and I look at all of these the same way, that if you're not in at the very beginning, I mean, like pre-public launch, you are going to get dumped on. And that's why you don't come in with everything at the beginning at that point. You come in with part of it.
Well, you could come in at the very early and then get out and then come back in. Definitely.
Well, yeah, I'm saying unless, but my assumption was that you weren't in early, that you were at the public sale, let's say.
Right.
When it goes from $4 to $70. So who in their right mind is not going to dump some of that, if not all of it, when they get a chance? So
absolutely.
I kind of accept that as, the cost of doing business in these. And when I look at all of these again, the APYs are meaningless unless you think of it as being 12-month holds. I mean, that's what it's for. If you look at the ARC or the chart on value accretion, I mean, 80% of that seems to be coming in the last couple of weeks of a 12-month cycle. It's just the math, I mean, it's that old story when we were kids when somebody said, would you rather get a penny a day that doubles every day for a year, or would you like $20? And, everybody's like, oh, I'll take the $20. But then when you just double that penny every day for a year, it ends up to be, some absurdly high number. So I look at these as, you come in at this level, or if you're in earlier, you buy some more. I think I DCA'd myself down to about $5 perhaps per one, or lower than that. And then you got to think you're going to just be in it for a while. I mean, that's what these rebases are about. The rebase is still holding. And it's the same thing with, Fortress Finance had a situation a couple of weeks ago or a week ago where they were tired of all the trading into, I was just looking at the comments here for a second. They were tired of all the trading against the Treasury. So people were, whales were dumping and buying out, it was coming out of the Treasury. And so they moved all the liquidity somewhere else. They pulled all the liquidity, but it's in another location and they're going to reintroduce it. And that took the price down to like, the 15-10 range. But, they were trying to save the protocol. So, a lot of this stuff is, can have a lot of reasons. But the bottom line is I don't really trust any of these at this point, this level, this size. But I look at it that, okay, I'm willing to take the risk, but it's a 12-month risk, a 6-month risk, it's whatever. So when I see these, I hate to say it, I was almost like, oh, wow, go figure. It was like, it wasn't even a surprise to me to see it go from 70 or 90 to $3. I was just like, oh, why not? They're all at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Off 68%, And, but, again, not a lot of money. So, again, I'm just waiting for.
And with those, you're just kind of fucking around.
Yeah. So to me, when you look again at the top tier ones, Olympus, Time, Klima, let's say, those three, they all have a purpose beyond the rebase mechanism, beyond the financial mechanism. They're heading into other markets, doing different things, GameFi, metaverse, whatever, or, climate cleanup, carbon credits. There's more there than just the financial protocol. And so I wonder, I think the trick is if you can find the ones that are trying to figure out what to do next, then, they might succeed. But then that's also why you do a basket of 30 of them. So you don't even have to think about it at all. And just accept the fact that if these guys are slow rugging or they're stealing it or they're not, who cares? At the end of the day, you're not going to even look at this for 6 months.
Exactly. So you'll see how much you have there, and it's cool.
Yeah, so I've tried to insulate myself from, God, look, if this was, I had real money in it, of course I'd be like, oh, wow, great, down 68%. I'd probably be long gone. But to me, I don't really worry as much about this stuff.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
because of, we're learning how the patterns, like when people, like I've seen, fractals thrown around in the past in channels. And, I always kind of like, it's always a big question mark about those in my head. But then I look at it and you kind of learning the patterns does help you. And so no one's
yeah,
really learned the patterns in these rebase tokens yet. And I think that the more you're in it and looking at them and seeing the volatility, you start figuring out the patterns. You still know stuff about Olympus that I don't know.
right.
And then I see these small ones, they all come up with new features. So, like this one, LifeDAO has this concept. I don't know if it'll show it to me because I'm not like connected. Well, actually, it is showing mine. But, you have this warm up piece here. And, you basically, I just bought like another 12 or something this morning, $25, $30. And now they sit for a day, trying to keep people from investing and pulling out right after a rebase, which is what a lot of people do. And so then you
Right.
exit it, then it's staked. So that was a feature I hadn't seen anywhere else.
Right.
So, you learn different things. And I think that over time, when we particularly think about stuff like, all this M&A activity, like the Rary and what is it? Tribe.
Rari and Faye.
RG, yeah, Rari and Faye. I could see a lot of these small ones like this and Unisdow or Fortress. I mean, there looks like there might be a wave of future consolidation coming in this space.
Oh, absolutely. No, there is. There absolutely
well,
is.
we've identified about 70 ohm forks out there, I believe, maybe 72. And, the vast majority are on AVAX, I believe. Polygon has some, but I think, for the most part, a lot of them have 6 or 5 or 4. Some have a dozen. Can you really support that many? Unless it's, unless this is just a new kind of way to do startup financing around projects. But I don't get the feeling that any of these groups have a plan that what is that project. I think they sort of figure it out as they go along, which, is good and bad in different ways. Pivoting versus, getting stuck in planning exercises all the time is usually a better way to go. But, 69 of them having big unicorn ideas is probably not going to happen. So I think maybe if I was thinking about this and I was these developer teams like the Snow Dog guys, I would be figuring out a way to merge with all these other people. Because if all of a sudden you can take, a bunch of $650,000 TVLs and get it into one, we're now at 65 million. You have a lot more stability, and that one can run into the thousands. So keep an eye on this kind of activity coming. I mean, what did you think about this deal, the Rari Faye one?
So I love this, and I want to see more of this. Look, I think Rari and Faye are both cutting edge, awesome projects run by awesome people. Rari is the guys who are all really young dudes. I think a couple of them just turned 18 or 19, who have done a brilliant job. They got hacked, they recovered, they have built a great product with a lot of integrations in a lot of places. So I think this is brilliant. And then, this ties into kind of what's going on with Sushi, which it's not an acquisition or a merger, but, Danielle from Wonderland, Mem, Abracadabra, hard driving, kind of motivated strategist, project guy, right? He basically is asking to take over Sushi, right? So their entire proposal, he wrote a proposal with Arca. Basically, their entire proposal is to build out structured teams for Sushi to determine exactly the things that the community governance has a say in, and then allow the team and the leaders. They're appointing 3 leaders to the top of the team. One guy head of development, Danielle head of vision and product, and somebody else operational in charge. And all of it looks pretty good. I think some of it's a bit vague, so I have some concerns about it. But overall, somebody like Daniel driving product tells me that what's going to happen is a lot of his existing projects kind of get merged in. with what Sushi's doing, but he's not saying that out and out, right? He's not saying these projects will merge together. My concern, frankly, is Daniel taking on the role of managing and rebuilding kind of the team of Sushi while also having projects that I'm invested in that he has to maintain and keep track of. I frankly personally don't think it's the best use of his time. And I think he ends up getting bogged down into bullshit with Sushi. If he can merge everything together and make it all come together, that's exciting. But it just makes me nervous. It makes me nervous about the existing, about time and about abracadabra and all that. But, look, I think Sushi's an awesome project. I think the community has done a fantastic job of building what they've built. They had a very flat organizational structure. I think the communities may defeat this proposal because it's essentially giving up control. At the same time, they need some management internally to govern how things are being built, what's being built, et cetera. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I haven't spent a ton of time examining the details of what gets left in the community votes versus what goes under the control of the team. But what I did read when I read through it rapidly was that it seemed to make sense. There was just some things that were left kind of vague that make me a little nervous. So,
yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
But look, they're saying here head visionary / strategist. So that kind of tells me finding someone to be CEO type person that reports directly to him is what I see. Because you got Omakase still as head of ops and BD, and then whoever Matthew is head of engineering. There's a couple other people that need to be in that mix, like you said, and I would be concerned. Right. But maybe if I was a time holder. But maybe this is part of, maybe there's, maybe the play is this is part of the future vision of time. Maybe this is a get control of, acquire, merge into, somehow getting all of that TVL under the time banner, so to speak. That could be kind of interesting. But, did you ever talk to Omakase?
No. Okay. Maki is who I spoke. Maki is who I interviewed.
And Maki's he's gone. Not there? Yeah, he's gone.
No, he left. He's done. And people were trying to get him to come back. He said no. So Camerate from our community and who's also been he and I've had a lot of conversations. He's a listener. He's going to be involved with us. I quickly sent him a message and said, hey, what are your thoughts on LifeDAO? Because I know he was invested in it. And I know he made some money. So he wrote back and said, just the inevitable end of a quick flame DAO from where I sit. 5 to 10 did this last week. Papa, for example, a few more in the last 2 days with a few new hot ones having done new high APY promotions. Parrot and Clavis are 2 that I moved to. In my view, you have to basically babysit these super high APY ones almost 24/7 to avoid the eventual 80 to 90% drop. What I do instead is I start pulling like 25% a day in profit when they're in really high bond or APY mode. That way I've extracted the vast majority of the value by the time they flame out. He gives some details on what he invested and how much he's made. I don't want to disclose that for him, but he did very well, right? He pulled out good money from the project. And it, look, it's like, what were those scams where, they were essentially Ponzi scams, although these aren't necessarily Ponzi in structure. But there were all these Telegram scams where they basically got a bunch of people in and then they kept selling it and people kept making it, but eventually it catches up because there's not enough coming in. He says now he actually leaves the last little bit there to grow because I bet they'd still do another marketing push or two, just not to the same highs as before. So he's basically doing what you're doing, which is keeping some in there and just sit back and see what happens with it, right? And just keep an eye on it. So
he also makes he makes a really good point too, and it's about taking profits on the way up. And we do this in everything else, so it's something to be thinking about in this one too. These types of investments, So look, for example, we're at $3, $2.91 right now, or I saw 3 somewhere else. If you buy in here and it goes to 10, I mean, you should sell 25-30% of that at that point. Get your initial money off the table, because these do go up and down, and like he said, there's bound to be another big marketing push, or maybe there's consolidation or something. But just do it in a diversified manner, so you don't, you get stuck with all your eggs in one basket. I mean, it's great when it works, but it doesn't work all the time. So
well, LifeDAO. What's interesting is LifeDAO 2 days ago posted their roadmap. And today was the day where they claimed they were starting marketing phase 2. So we'll see if it actually happens or not. But anyway, it's very interesting. Real quick, I got a message from Mystery Cat. I've interacted with him a lot, and he listens to the show. He said, "I'm super pumped about the DAO. I'm down for $3,000, but I really think the official name should be Boomer DAO. Otherwise, I'm going to put my money elsewhere." Laughing out loud. So Mystery Cat's going to join us, but he cracks me up. Boomer DAO. I don't know. Maybe all of us are in this age range. We'll have to see. But excited to have him join. Yes, me too. I'm Gen X too, but it's still pretty damn funny. So
it is.
Anyway, he wants to help out with the project too and do some research. We've had a lot. I think we're going to have a really powerful DAO built out here, Joe. I think this is exciting.
No, and I mean, what's super exciting to me too is that all the other things that we have coming behind this. I mean, we just kind of alluded to this before. We're not going to be doing big pivots. We're going to be executing a strategic plan. So, sometimes you might see a little bit more paperwork than you really want to see, but it's just to make sure that we're all protected. So there is definitely a multi-step plan here going forward, and I just can't wait to implement it.
Yeah, I do too, man. I'm excited. And I think we got a lot of great people wanting to help. And look, the more heads we have in it who are doing this every day, the better off all of us are going to be. So it's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so what
absolutely.
So we were talking about Ewo Place. What was this about?
So let me pull that. Hold on. Let me finish this message.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm in the middle of a show, but I'm messaging. I tried to get Cameron to come on and talk about LifeDAO, but he's doing what I did 2 days ago, packing up the family and headed out for the holidays. So Ewo, EWO, I don't know how to pronounce it, but very interesting. So, and I think I got this from one of the Telegram feeds I get with all the DeFi projects that are happening. So this is a really interesting thing, and I'm still not quite sure what to make of it. But I read that the token staked in the wallet in the app is clearing like 11 to 12% every 5 days, right? And I don't think this is an Olympus DAO fork, but there's several things that are really interesting about this. So the concept is this: they are buying up real estate, starting in Portugal, and I think they're probably going to move around Europe first. They're buying up real estate in towns that are kind of dying off, but that have like historical significance or beautiful natural attractions nearby. Right. So you've heard about these towns in Italy that'll pay you $15,000 to move there because everybody's moving away from the towns. This is kind of what they're doing. So they're going in and buying up really cheap real estate that maybe needs some work. They're fixing it up. And then their model is, if you stake their token, the more of their token you stake in your wallet, the cheaper the price is for you to stay in this place, right? And they have these studio apartments or studio cottages, whatever, in these towns. So they started off in this one town, and you basically can pay, if you're staking their token any amount, you basically pay 29 euros per week, right, to stay in the place. The idea is that they think that they can eliminate owning property or renting property because the value of the tokens will be so great, and the revenue that comes from people staking the token and the price growing of the token, that they think that they can build this massive network of properties where people that are stakeholders in the project can go live for basically next to nothing or free. And the whole value circulates then around the tokens instead of the properties, which is a really interesting concept, right? Because they're basically saying, if you stake our token and increase the value because you're a hodler, then our value of our token is going to go up. So our wealth increases. So it's very easy for us to buy projects. Now, Here's the thing I find interesting that they didn't do, and it was probably for legal reasons, but I'd love to see a similar model to this done, but where the DAO owns the property. Right now, it's a separate organization that owns the properties. It's when you're buying tokens in the DAO, you have no say in the property, right? You're not you're not owning property. The DAO doesn't own any property. So they're basically accumulating properties with the value of the tokens that are getting bought from them. And they're building a real estate portfolio. But the real estate portfolio, the real estate portfolio isn't that great of value because it's in towns that are kind of dying off, but they are places you would want to visit, right? Because they're beautiful or they have natural resources around mountains and hiking and lakes and motion or whatever. But the concept is pretty cool because here's the thing. Like my wife and I want to travel the world, right? We either are going to do it with our children for a year or we're going to do it after they are off to college. And we may never live in one place again, we just want to travel. Well, it's a pretty cool thing to know that I can stake this token and earn on the token. Like I'm earning more APY on the token every day. And it also entitles me to live in places all over the world that are beautiful and attractive and could be fun to hang out for free or next to free. And that's a really powerful model, right? So they're kind of taking this whole thing that you and I talk about in terms of DeFi and perpetual income and earning revenue and token values, and they're taking it and saying, hey, you can earn tokens. We're going to get rich because we own the initial supply of tokens and we're selling them to you. And our token value is going to increase because we think that people who want to be nomads, who want to move around the world, will actually be really interested in staking the tokens and holding them and thus driving the value of the tokens up, right? It's a really cool concept. I personally would prefer the DAO own the properties and that the community votes on the next cities to go to and that kind of thing. But it's a cool first implementation.
Yeah, I mean, how do I put it? It's like share economy stuff, like ride sharing or kind of an Airbnb concept. But have you heard any of that rumor about Airbnb doing a token? By any chance, have you heard?
I have not.
I've heard some talk out in some channels about that, not in Telegram, but like just mainstream stuff. No, I do like this because I like the fact of having the token. I don't see the token's purpose. I guess you pay for the properties with it or something. But I also like that they have a wallet that I think can hold multiple types of crypto.
Right. But here's the interesting thing about having the wallet in the app, right, is instead of having it be an app on the web and then you're connecting to other DeFi applications for yield or whatever, when they own you in the wallet, you're less likely to transfer that shit out and sell. You're likely, look, I'm earning yield. I'm in the wallet. What do I care? Right. I may send some out to sell as I earn more and more. But at the end of the day, if it gets me free places to live around the world that are in beautiful places, why would I bother? Right. I stake a couple of $1,000s worth. If that means for the next 5 to 10 years, I can just live freely anywhere in the world, I'm not going to sell that token.
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is that they're also taking ETH and other cryptocurrencies. So they're basically going to be almost, the wallet play is kind of interesting when you think that the real estate is not part of it and the wallets here, what you could do with the wallets, if you're EWO. Like you said, staking and yield farming, because there's going to be a pair that's, what's the token called? EWO. There's going to be a pair EWO ETH pair somewhere. So, it brings in all kinds of the stuff that we look at every day, the finance.
Exactly.
And then what you do with
it's a very cool concept.
I do wish the real estate was part of it.
Me too.
But, just to give you more security. Maybe they get there next, or maybe the next players do. I don't see a lot of locations yet, though. That's the other thing I would say. I just see
all they have at launch is Portugal. They haven't done anything more. Yeah, I think this thing fun. I think this thing just launched. Portugal's hot. Portugal's beautiful, and there's a ton of crypto activity in Portugal. A ton.
Yeah. No, I haven't been there in a while. It's but I remember The food's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of cool because you're like right next to Spain too. So there's a lot of crossing back and forth. And then Port,
Yeah.
you know, El Porto or whatever, that city on the coast going up above Lisbon.
Yeah.
That's got some really good real estate deals there too. And of course you've
Absolutely.
got, you know, all the port wine and all that. Yeah, no, this is interesting. I could see spending a little time in Portugal. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that one. What about this YFI?
Okay, so I didn't get time to dive completely into this one, but and I'll talk about it more after I get a chance to finish reading it. But the
I've seen
bottom line is that there's a new model on how YFI. What the hell? Why does this keep popping back up? There's a new model on how Yearn's token is going to earn. But I was hoping to read this whole thing through before the show, and I didn't get a chance to. So we'll save that one for tomorrow.
Well, what's cool though is I read this article too. Now I just look at it. I remember reading it. What I thought was really interesting here is they're again doing some interesting comparisons, like when we talk about market cap to TVL. And there's an article in here about, you know, it was showing Curve and their multiple as being super duper high compared to YFI. And that kind of got my attention because I'm like, you know, I talk a lot about Curve, or not so much lately, but it started making me see how it is this YFI is such a good buy right now.
Right.
Look, this is on Medium. It's YFI reborn as a black hole. I would recommend everybody read this just because it really makes a good case for it. And we'll have more to talk about tomorrow after we dig in. But there's some very good comps, and it ties into convex and, you know, how everybody's fighting, you know, the curve wars, and how this is an interesting play in that space too that I think ends up taking both to them. But yeah, definitely an interesting move. I mean, I was kind of looking at prices of YFI yesterday, to be honest, because it's something that you should be thinking about.
Totally agree. So cool. I mean, I definitely want to look at that more deeply and see what we can see if there's something for us to play with there. Sounds like it's got some good opportunities coming. What else? What else you got, Joe?
I think that we got through the Rary. We got through that. We did EWO. What was that one?
Where's my Telegram links?
I think we got them all up. Oh, I did see this one. I thought was kind of interesting. I don't think we talked about this yesterday. You know, a former U.S. treasurer talking about crypto and just, you know, regulations and saying, trains left the station, baby. It's too late. So I thought that was
put it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Already gone.
It'd be awesome if Crypto Mom became the chair of the SEC. That would hold on to your fucking crypto, dude, because that would just blow shit up.
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, it's gonna blow up again. And you know, I was looking at the chart, the yearly chart, and I was looking at May and June, and I remember like in May, I didn't really get hit hard in the first wave of that correction. I think maybe because Doki and Azuki were still way up at that point, so I wasn't feeling it. And it wasn't until everything got dragged down in June that I started feeling it. And then, you know, of course, we got July 15 to September and then October. But once you kind of look at Pumptober and then look at, you know, November to now has been kind of a bit of a slide, you know, for a good month and a half. So I get the feeling that we're ready to come out of this, is my read, because of all the other activity going on in the market. And so, you know, I'm interested to see how, that's why these rebase tokens, it's intriguing to me because I've never been sitting in them at the, you know, end of a couple of months, let's just say bearish cycle. Because now they're at like rock bottom. So I'm really curious to see what happens when this, you know, we turn and get another July 15th or another, you know, Pumptober or another, you know, January like last year. Because remember last year, there was a little run, if I remember, in December, maybe to early January, and then it went down like 40-50% for a couple of weeks, and then it started taking off again around January 21st or 2nd. And then
Right.
that was the big run to like middle of April, end of April, early May. Well, I wasn't doing any of these types of things then. These rebates.
Right.
I was just
Right.
mainly spot. I wasn't even doing a ton of DeFi yield farming at that stage. I didn't start
No.
doing that until like maybe Mayish, and that served me really well in that downturn. And I'm not doing a lot of yield farming right now because I'm looking at all these rebase things, but I'm kind of curious to see how this holds up. So,
Yeah.
to me, I think it's the ideal time if you're new to it to be, sticking a toe in. If you're in it, I think it's,
Yep.
trust the APYs and, maybe do a little DCAing, but that's about it. And then look for what's next. I mean, the YFI stuff looks very interesting. Other ones that we talked about a lot in the past, Matic's cranking right now.
Yep.
Curve's going. What was the Phantom starting to move again? Trying to think. AVAX is cranking right now. And obviously BNB's going. So I think there's a lot of stuff moving that we're just not really seeing as much. At least I'm not, because I'm looking at other things, trying to like consolidate in this trough or this bottom, so that when it does go next, because it's going to, that we're in good shape.
Yeah.
So
I recommend everybody this Ether Drops tracking bot in Telegram. If you use Telegram, because I keep a collection of tokens I'm watching there, and I can load them up anytime I want from the Telegram bot. It's awesome. Ether Drops tracking bot. So I keep an eye on all the prices of what's happening, and kind of you can see 1 hour, 12 hour, 24-hour change. You can see a full list of all the tokens you currently want to monitor. It'll also send you alerts on larger transactions. So you can say, I want to see every time there's a sale of Matic of more than, say, $1 million in value, or you can also monitor wallets. So you can set up monitoring for your own wallets to see if any transactions occur, but also other wallets that you think are important to keep an eye on, and it'll alert you about those transactions.
Yeah, no, I use that too. I definitely like it. I use just alerts on my phone too on CoinGecko for whatever I'm holding. I did want to pull this up since I'm sort of looking for other things to show on a screen. This is Unisdao, and they had the NFT minting that started last Friday. So far 4,360 out of 5,000. For the new game have been minted. I haven't picked up any myself yet because I got tons of NFTs still from before that I need to sell. Speaking of which, hey, have you done anything with Searlight lately?
What's that?
Have you done anything with Searlight lately?
No, nothing. I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah, I haven't been on OpenSea for like a month, I don't think. But I'm going to dig into that over the holidays as well. But, so look, this is still got in this down market, I mean, they're 100 BUSD per mint. And you get discounts if you own, like I own more than 20, so I get 20% off. But, I haven't pulled the trigger yet just because like I said, I just don't really want to right now. But there's room there if someone else does. I see 500, 640 there. It looks like a pretty intriguing game, but this is an example of, they're trying to come up with something beyond the rebase. And, so that's, to me, that's the kind of stuff you want to look for. Whether the game is going to be all that, I don't know. Go ask the Must people. Is that still working? Is their game still working? I mean, games are games. People are loyal to them or they don't get hooked on it. These guys are pivoting. So to me, where do they pivot within this? Yield farming and all of that with the NFTs and a game, where there's looters and miners. So I think when you stake the NFT and unstake it, it could possibly be stolen by a looter. Like you got a 10-to-1 shot of, I think, losing it. So there's some new things in here. Yeah. So I always think of stuff like that and, how people are doing different things. Now it's still holding up, but I think, 40, backing of $10. What's the TVL? Where is that here? Protocol owned liquidity? No, backing. I mean, there's a treasury balance. I don't really see. Market cap is 6.7. TVL 5.9 right here.
Right.
So, again, decent metrics on a small play that's trying to pivot to something else.
Right.
So,
Right.
On Fortress DAO, what are they doing? This is one that I've kind of been annoyed with just because of the fact, like I told you, they pulled the liquidity pool. This isn't going to come up when I'm showing it. But anything else you want me to pull up to look at, Brad?
No, I'm good, man. I think we can call it a day.
Yeah, let's call it a day. We're all rolling.
Got a lot of work to do on the club and funds, and I want to get that stuff rolling. So I heard back from the attorney. She's going to call me this evening. So we'll see what we can get on that.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing this show with your friends. The more people we have, the better. Thank you to everyone that's volunteered to help with the club. Thank you to those of you that just want to participate. Just excited to get this thing rolling and have fun creating a community. So more to come on that, and we'll reach out to you.
Yeah. Again, thanks everyone, and happy holidays.
Everybody that's reached out, we will. Yeah, everybody that's reached out, we will contact you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're looking forward to this. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. All right.
See ya. Thanks, Joe.
Bye, buddy. See you later.
Bye-bye. See ya.